Oh, Whoopi, you did it again. You put that big crock that you wear on your foot right in your big mouth.
Holocaust isn't about race.
No.
No. It's not about race.
It's about a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
But it's about white supremacy. It's about
but
going after
it's
Jews
not about
and
race. But these are two white groups of people.
Well, how do we after black
but
people
see them as white men.
But you're missing the point. You're missing the point. The minute you turn it into race, it goes down this alley. Let's talk about it for what it is. It's how people treat each other.
I'm no history buff. Never claimed to be. Never will be. But Whoopi doesn't seem to think the Holocaust was about race. When you think about it today, being about race really made no sense because they were all white people. But in 1933 to 1945, it was about race because Hitler and the Nazis saw the Jews as a race that was inferior to them and they needed to eliminate them to the tune of 6 million people. That alone is mind-blowing that one person could order troops to kill that many people. That's disgusting. But for this one, Whoopi Goldberg, to insist that it wasn't about race, it's man against man. Nothing to do with race. She missed some history classes back in the day because anyone who was taught that was always told it was about race because that's what the Nazis believed. They believed that the Jews were inferior as well as blacks, Polish people, gay people. They were all inferior to the Nazi party. So for her to go on TV and say that, again, she's a buffoon, but her own co-hosts, whom we all know how I feel about them, especially Behar, they couldn't believe what she was saying. They couldn't believe what she was saying. It's absolutely not about race. Well, I'll tell you what, Whoopi, do a little homework because they believed that the Jews were a threat to their so-called German racial community. Okay, I'm reading this. I made notes, okay? I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not a genius. I don't remember all the stuff that I read. But they claim that people with disabilities, Polish people, Russians, and black people were biologically inferior. And the regime persecuted other groups because of politics, ideology, or their behavior, okay? Jehovah's Witnesses, gay men, the Nazis called them professional criminals and they had to be eliminated. They saw all of them people, especially the Jewish people, as a race that needed to be eliminated so they could control, they could maintain power over everyone. So Whoopi says this, and then she goes on and starts apologizing. Well, that's the way I see it because I'm black. And when I look at race, I go by what I see. She said to Colbert, see, I see you, I know what race you are. Or I look out in the audience, I know what race they are. So she's beating around the statement that she made. So she doesn't look as idiotic as she really is. But no one's going to do anything. NBC's not going to do anything. Everybody's on this cancel culture bullshit, but no one seems to care about The View and all the trash that they spew on a daily basis. What are we doing here? Why are we allowing her, Behar, and those other two or three, Sonny Hostin, I don't even know who the other two are, but I think they read a script that Behar and Whoopi Goldberg write because none of them make any sense to me. But for her not to think that that was about race when it happened truly shows her intelligence. And I don't care if she won an Emmy. I don't care if she won an Oscar. I don't care if she won a Grammy. I don't care. I don't give a fuck if she won a gold medal in the Big Mouth Olympics. Okay? My point is, she can go on TV and say shit like this, and nobody does anything about it. But Joe Rogan brings on world-renowned doctors, scientists, doctors who invented vaccines, invented the procedures to make vaccines, and they want to cancel him for medical misinformation. And he'll be the first one to say, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I bring on people who are to have a conversation about where this is going and what we can do about it. But old Neil Young, we all know about him, right? The has-been rocker. What's he, like 76, 78 years old now? He threatened Spotify, I want you to take my music down if you don't do something with Joe Rogan. Well, Spotify sided with Rogan, and they took down Neil Young's music. Then Joni Mitchell came out of her cardboard house and said the same thing, take my music down. These people are has-beens, and they're trying to keep themselves relevant. And Joe Rogan admitted that he was a fan of Neil Young, loves his music, still does, and he feels bad that he thought that way. But that's the culture we're living in today. We're living in a culture where you can't say anything. You can't have a conversation with an expert, a doctor, a scientist, or anybody for that matter, and try to broadcast it without someone being offended by it. There is no more free speech. There's no more, it's my opinion. No. If someone doesn't like it, then they get their fact checkers, whatever basement they're in looking at computers, and they say, no, our fact checker said that you're spreading misinformation about this, that, and the other thing, so we're going to take you down. We're going to ban you from this. We're going to ban you from that. It's not right. But Whoopi Goldberg can continue to go on TV every single day and say whatever she wants. And nobody wants to cancel her. Nobody wants to complain. She's not being censored. She's not being silenced. But Joe Rogan is having medical experts on to talk about medicine and the COVID pandemic and this vaccine or this, that, and the other thing. And they want to take him down because they say he's spreading misinformation. CNN, a CNN woman, I don't know her name, she went on national broadcast and stated that cloth masks don't do anything. And that was okay. But 6 or 8 months ago, if you said that, you would be banned or they would take down your social media posts because it was unacceptable. But for CNN to say it now, it's legitimate. It's 100% legitimate. And the fact checkers realized that the cloth mask is really no good. And that's okay. But if I said it, or Rogan said it, or any other, and I'm nobody, who the hell am I? I am nobody. I just like talking about things. But somebody as big as Rogan said that, he would have been censored, and his episodes would have been taken down, and all the crybabies would have been, how dare he say that he's spreading misinformation? Well, no, he's not. He has experts on his podcast, which is probably the biggest podcast in the world. He gets millions and millions of streams every day. He's not trying to spread misinformation. He's trying to get an idea of what's really going on. And by taking on experts who have done these things, who have written hundreds of papers and have been published about these kinds of things, he's trying to get information. He's trying to learn something. And then he puts it out so the millions of listeners can hear it and then make their own decision. He's not telling people what to do. But Whoopi Goldberg can say, that's nothing to do with race, the Holocaust, nothing. It's okay. She could go on Colbert and make a little apology and say, oh, that's the way I thought about it because I see race. Like I see you, you're white, so I know what race you are. It's a bunch of shit, and it's sickening, and I'm tired of seeing it, especially from The View. They talk about misinformation. They spread it daily. It's my opinion. I believe we still have a constitution and a right to free speech. So I believe I'm entitled to an opinion. And it's my opinion that they're talking all garbage. It really is. But no one else seems to think that way. They can continue with their conspiracy theories, if you will, and say whatever they want, and they're okay. But if somebody like Rogan has an expert who has, this man has 6 or 7 patents in RNA vaccine or whatever it's called. I don't know. I'm not going to even tell you I know what it's called because I don't. I'm just telling you what I heard and what I remember it might be. These are experts in the medical field, but some people didn't agree with it because they can't get their own agenda across if millions of people are listening to this and then making a decision for themselves what they should or should not do. I think Whoopi Goldberg should be censored. I think she should be told what she can and can't say because they do it to everybody else. They do it to everybody else. From the smallest guy like me who makes videos to the biggest guy like Rogan, they're trying to make people not be able to speak their view, their voice, and give their opinion. This is the United States of America, and we're supposed to have free speech. We can give an opinion on what we think, but we're not telling people what to do. And if people are listening to stuff like that and saying, oh shit, then if he's not going to do it, I'm not going to do it, that's their problem. That's their uneducated choice to do what they heard on a radio show or a podcast or a TV show. People have a brain in their head, you think, and they can make the decisions that are right for them. But if they choose to do something because they heard some popular podcast host say it, or some actor or some athlete say it, then shame on them. Shame on them for not doing their own research and figuring out what's best, and no matter what the subject may be. And that's it. Whoopi Goldberg they got to do something with her because she could say anything she wants and then go on TV after and make a little apology and everybody's okay with it. But the Rogan controversies always continue because he's Joe Rogan. He's a podcast host. He's a comedian. Again, the biggest podcast in the world probably, with millions and millions of streams. People are listening. But I truly don't believe that people are taking medical advice from him. They're listening and they're getting information, and hopefully they're doing their own research. And that's all I want to say. She aggravates me. She can say whatever she wants and no one says anything, and she can go on and make a 2-bit apology that I'm black and you're white and I can see what race you are, so I see it as man against man. No, back then it was about race, and now we see it as we see it, that it's not about race. It was about what Hitler thought was a racial issue by murdering 6 million people. I could be wrong. I could be right. I don't know. But I'm going by what I read, what I've learned about it, and what other people say, survivors of it, what have you. It's disgusting that someone like Goldberg can keep spewing her in trash, spewing her in nonsense, and no one cares. And I'm going to end this right here. Thanks for listening. I don't know, I know I went a little crazy because everything they do is wrong and nobody seems to care. Consider subscribing to my channel. Consider liking this video. I'd appreciate it. Share this video if you will. Hit the notification bell. You'll be notified when another video comes up. I hope everybody's healthy and safe, and I'll be back again with something else to rant about. Have a great night.